evening and welcome back to the Box Box Podcast, your home of all your national football news. We've got loads of juicy topics to dive into tonight, so to make sure to get your comments in because we will be including them and getting back to them. I'm joined tonight by Liam, Bernard and Jonathan. Lads, how we doing?
Not too bad.
All good. Cold, but I'm all good.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's got cold quick and dark quick. I hate the winter. I'm not a winter fan at all. How about you, Liam? Winter fan?
No, summer every single time. Go out, have a barbecue, kick about, play some football. Just it's nice. It's hotter, and if it's hot in bed, just get a fan on. What can you do when it's cold in winter in bed?
Yeah, summer when World Cups are meant to be on.
Exactly. It sounds wrong, and it is wrong.
I'm still trying to come to terms with how it's going to work next year. Bernard, you got any idea how this World Cup's going to work?
I'm just dreading it, mate. To be honest with you, it's just going to be a joke, isn't it? The whole football season. We've had enough with COVID last year. Still not fully through it, and now we've got to mess it up for this World Cup next year. It's just ridiculous for me. I mean, club football is always more important to me anyway. I don't mind. I like watching England. I hope they do well, but it's the club or nothing for me, and I think it's too much disruption for the teams, for the players. So it's got to be a weird season next season.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be swapping pints for Bailey's hot chocolates, I think, or whatever your spirit is. It's yeah, certainly. I don't know whether to get excited for it or not. I mean, the matches are going to be on at weird times as well. I would guess. But anyway, we'll dive into the first topic. It's going to be the main one, isn't it? It's been all over this week. Ollie's finally not at the wheel. Liam, what was your reactions when you saw that he'd gone?
A bit of a mixed bag for me, really, because I definitely felt for Ollie. At the end of the day, we're all human. I saw the little interview he did with the club after he'd left, and it was very emotional for him. But I also hate to see Man United possibly doing well with another manager. So, like I said, it's a mixed bag, but I think it was definitely the right call. Last 7 games have only won 1, drawn 1, and then lost the rest of them. They might be doing all right in the Champions League, but they're not getting the performances or the results that they want in the league. So, yeah, I think it's the right decision, but, I do feel for Ole very much so.
Bernard, Liam mentioned the interview Man United did with Ollie after the news that they were parting ways. Myself, I found it really weird. Like, here's your P45, but on your way out, you wouldn't mind doing just this heartfelt touching piece, would you? Bernard, how did you feel about that?
That is just the commercial side coming into it, isn't it? I mean, he was literally driving around Manchester looking for fans to hug. From what I saw, some of the images where he obviously just got out of his car on the side of a road near Carrington or wherever it was, I don't know, hugging a fan, dressed up, and the cameras were there, and it was. I mean, I've never known it in my life. A manager be giving his P45, a £7 or £8 million payoff. By the way, I mean, I'm not going to be as Liam's has said. He's a bit. What's it for him? I'm sorry. I'm never sorry for managers, never, because even the most inept ones walk into other jobs or get plenty of money. So I'm never sorry for him, but that was beyond the pale what United had him do. I'm sure he didn't say, right, I want to do this. I'm sure it's look, mate, can you do this for us just to, to make you're still a legend for us and all this sort of thing, which he is. He'll always be a legend to United fans. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But to make him do that was a bit crass, and I just thought I'd like to know a bit more about the details of it, but. Yeah, I'd like to be kind and say it was a nice thing, but it just made me cringe, mate. To be honest with you.
Yeah, you could see you could see the struggle that he was facing to try and get through it. I mean, it's not a natural thing to make someone do, but it now does leave one of the biggest jobs in football open. Jonathan, who would you like to maybe see get the job?
Well, I would like to see Pochettino get the job. To be honest, he's already came out and said he's willing to leave PSG right now if Man United come calling. Also, Steve Bruce has been mentioned as well. Another former Manchester United player.
I'll just interrupt you there, Jonathan. Steve Bruce is a really lovely man, and he has a family, so he deserves the job in my eyes.
He's been mentioned, hasn't he? He's been mentioned. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I would like to see Pochettino take the reins there. He might actually be the one to get Harry Kane to Man United. You never know.
Liam, Pochettino, if you were Pochettino, look, we'll all say the French league's a farmers league, and we're going to get onto the French league in whole later on. If you were Pochettino, would you leave now to coach Ronaldo, or do you stay and coach Messi? I know who I would prefer to coach.
I think it was a very bitter end for Pochettino at Spurs, and I think he's definitely got a point to prove still. And he's at PSG now, but you know they're 11 points ahead, I believe, at the top of the table. But the media at least still makes out that they're struggling as a club, and it seems like they've got all these problems. Messi wants to go back to Barcelona. Kylian Mbappe wants to leave on a free in the summer. It's a lot of stress, and I think you know, if Pochettino didn't win the Champions League this season, he probably would have been sacked anyways. So why not just, you know, Man United have the money to buy out his contract, I'll assume. Why not just go to Manchester United now, where he can really build something like what Ole would have wanted to build, and really get the best out of the players as well. You know, Bruno Fernandes hasn't been, you know, a quarter of how he was in the past couple of seasons. Maybe he can get him back into good goal scoring form. But yeah, I'd definitely have Pochettino taking that job. If not Steve Bruce, you know, all the pundits say he did a fantastic job at Newcastle. I'm sure he'd do a fantastic job at Man United as well.
And he's got a lovely, he's a lovely person with a family as well.
A fantastic person. Don't ever let anyone else say that about him. He's a fantastic person. Don't worry.
Charles, yes, Man United might get, well, they're going to get a new face in. But do you think there's a lot of faces maybe in the Man United squad that are a problem for a new coach coming in? I know who Graham Souness would probably say.
I mean, the thing is, I mean, it's not only manager. I mean, it's a manager who's got wants to do it. I mean, let's face it, Pochettino wants to do it. All credit to him. But it's not the squad either. It's not just this squad of egos which he's got. You know, you've got at least 3 egos I can think of, even including the young lad they brought back from Germany. He's got a big ego. I don't know why, because he's absolute rubbish. But I mean, he thinks he's something better than he is. But the problem isn't that. The problem is the guy who sits in the stands, isn't it? He's the problem. He's the problem with United. He's like a bad smell. He's not going to go. I mean, someone said the other day, when Bill Shankly left Liverpool, you guys are far too young. But I mean, he actually hung around and he was in the stands, etc., etc. And they physically had to say to him you had to be hard to him, saying, "Sorry, it wasn't working. You know, you're just there. It's too much for you to be in the stands." And it's exactly the same position with Ferguson now. He shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be there. He should be there occasionally. Of course, he should. He's obviously a big United fan now. He managed him. He was a legend at United, but he is a problem now. If Pochettino's big enough to take that on, or any manager's big enough to take that on, that's great. But that is the problem. The egos in the squad, your Pogbas and all you guys like your Ronaldo. I mean, he should be player manager now anyway, in my opinion. He shouldn't have even asked Carrick. He should just give it Ronaldo because he thinks he's managing the team anyway. So he should have had it from the start. But all credit to Pochettino if he's willing to take it on. But I'm very surprised that and I think, as you were saying there with PSG, he's actually doing better than people thinking on paper, points and stuff. But obviously there's something going on behind the scenes, isn't there? So all credit to him. But until you sort them egos, you've got to have a manager who can cope with those egos in the team. And you've got to sort of say, look, Ferguson's time is over. He can't be there running the rule over people. He was at PSG's hotel again last night. He goes around, you know, he's just annoying. He's just annoying to me. He's not my legend. I don't care less. But I think for United to move on, he's one of the things that has to go. Never mind a new manager. I think Ferguson has to sort of take more of a back seat or watch it on Sky with the rest of them.
Yeah, I would love to see what people that are watching think of this. And Jonathan, I'll ask you this because I'd love to see what you think. Do you think Ronaldo maybe caused a domino effect in Solskjaer losing the job?
Yeah, I believe so, because all the expectation was there. As soon as he signed, it was like, oh, Ronaldo's back. He's like the Messiah. You know, he's going to help us win trophies again. And then they lose 5-0 to Liverpool. So the reality quickly set in, and all the expectations was not healthy for Solskjaer at Manchester United, because here was a guy who had signed a player from the Ferguson days, expected to do like basically Ferguson's job, exactly how Ferguson did it. So I think it was kind of unfair that Solskjaer was put into that position. If he was the one that obviously convinced Ronaldo to come to Manchester United, fair enough. But if it was more behind the scenes commercial kind of signing, then yeah, Solskjaer was like a scapegoat when it didn't actually turn out that way.
Yeah, Manchester United really haven't found the man ever since Fergie left. And Liam, do you think anyone will be able to fill Fergie's shoes? I mean, eventually someone's got to, right?
I mean, it's an incredibly hard task. You think of the amount of time he was at that club, the amount of trophies he won as well. That might not even be something that could be replicated by even the best of managers at the best clubs in the world, you know. It'll definitely be a big struggle. Maybe you'll have some managers that come close, but to get to where Fergie got to, no, it'll take a very, very long time, and it's not something short term, not a chance.
Bernard, can you see your biggest rivals pulling anything back this season? I mean, we've still got 12 games in, so we've got a lot of the season to go. But do you think? I think league's probably gone. Do you think they can maybe close something back in a cup competition? Or?
Well, I can't see him doing anything with Carrick because he was there anyway, wasn't he, mate? So I mean, obviously, I believe Solskjaer wasn't very hands-on anyway on the training pitch. It was left to Carrick and the other, is it Phelan, the other guy there? I'm not too sure. It was left to those guys anyway. So I can't see anything changing too much at the moment with what they've got. But also, you got the whole. I mean, Woodward's supposed to be going, is he now? He's supposed to be staying for a bit longer. It's just it's behind the scenes. I mean, it's not just the manager, is it? It's the actual organisation as such, and the planning. It's just non-existent, which is great for me. I don't mind. I love that. That's what we love about it. As soon as you get everything working and correct, obviously they're obviously going to be a big threat again. But at this point in time, no. I mean, not with the way they run and not with the way they're moving things on. Even if they got Pochettino tomorrow, you know, they've still got the things in the background, haven't they? They've still got the Woodward, they've still got the organisation that's causing a problem as well. So, yeah, not anytime soon. They might rescue something this season, but I mean, their whole thing is getting the top four, isn't it? That's what the Glazers want. As long as they get in the top four, they get in the Champions League, they're quite happy. They're not even that bothered about winning trophies. They just want the cash coming in. But obviously, at this point in time, there's not top four is looking a bit doubtful, and it's certainly not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, you mentioned the Champions League there as well. Man United have won tonight in the earlier kick-off against Villarreal, 2-0, Sancho and Ronaldo with the goals, I believe. Jonathan, what do you see for Manchester United's chances in the Champions League?
Well, not good considering the teams that are still in there. You know, you've got Man City, Liverpool as well, and that's just the English teams. You've also got like your Real Madrids and that, and it doesn't look good. They're not the favourites to win. Let's be honest, they're not the favourites to win.
Yeah, I mean, Liam, what would you like to see from a new manager that will come in? Man United, I know from personally myself, I want to see the likes of Sancho and Greenwood play more because these are two brilliant young English talents that have the potential to maybe carry England to competition finals, and they need the game time, and that's something they weren't getting. I mean, look, it was kind of a bittersweet moment that Donny van de Beek scored Manchester United's last goal under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So what would you like to see a new Man United manager do?
I mean, like, first and foremost, I completely agree with you. I think the likes of Sancho, Greenwood need to be in that squad. Greenwood, I think, has been left out of the England squad as a result of losing game time. I think Sancho wasn't included in the last England squad as well, or the one before that, because he's just not had enough game time. Donny van de Beek as well, you know, a player with absolutely, you know, tons and tons of potential. When he joined Man United, has just been benched by Solskjaer and, you know, hasn't really been able to show what he can do. You know, when he has come on, he's been fantastic. Like you said, he managed to score, quite ironically, Solskjaer's last goal in his managerial reign. I think January will be massive for them. They need to get hold of midfielder without a doubt because, you know, as much as we laugh at McFred, it is actually quite sad to see because you think of the midfield that they used to have, the likes of Scholes in there, Carrick, who is now the interim manager. Whether he'll take over on a permanent basis or not, we don't know. But yeah, they just need to sort that midfield out, I think, is the main thing. We mentioned egos as well in the squad. I think Harry Maguire, he gave it the big one during the national duty, didn't he? Whilst he scored against San Marino, he scored against Albania. He had his celebration with these hands at his ears. And then how many goals did they give away against Watford? 4, was it?
4-1, mate.
And he got sent off as well. So it is. I think people, especially the likes of Maguire, really just need a bit of a kick on.
Do you agree with Liam Bernard that Man United maybe need to lose some of these characters that they have in the changing rooms? It seems when you've got the likes of Paul Pogba and there's stuff in the news every day about his future.
Well, it's bound. I mean, even the play. Look at players like Rashford, Martial. I mean, obviously they've had injury problems and stuff, but have they improved the last few years? Have they actually improved on what they came into the squad? They've not been improving players. I mean, you look at Pep at City. He improves players all the time. I mean, they've not had a manager. Even going back before Ollie. That's improving these players, and that's the problem. They've got some cracking players. So, like Sancho, he's not going to improve at United. They carry on as they do. He's just going to be the same. He's just going to do what he's been doing, and that's what you want to see. Players like Greenwood, they should be improving and not thrown in and play game after game or whatever, and then sort of go stale. They need nurturing, and United just aren't that sort of club to nurture these youngsters. And it's a great shame because they do have a great reputation for bringing through youngsters. Of course they do, but Greenwood and Sancho are not going to benefit from being there at this point in time. That's why they want to sort out not an interim manager for an interim manager, which they're talking about. I mean, they're talking about making about 3 steps, aren't they? They're not even talking about let's get the best manager now. They're talking about, well, we'll do this and then we'll see out this season, then we'll perhaps do it for next season. It's chaos, and the young players and the young England players from an England point of view are suffering because of this. It's just not good enough, really.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. Man United shouldn't be a long-term project, maybe like how me and Liam know Newcastle are at the minute. They should be, right, these are the players you've got. You've got some of the best players in the world. Win stuff. I don't quite get it. I don't know if I think Ollie just hasn't had the strong enough characteristics to balance out the strong characters that United have in that changing room. But look, we'll move on. I think we've pretty much just done Man United to the death there. But it's becoming really topical at the minute, the chat about referees and in more particular grassroots officials. There's kids as young as 14 officiating grassroots games, and they're getting offered out by coaches and parents to have scraps in the parking areas after games. Jonathan, what do you think needs to be done to stop this abuse that referees have been getting?
Well, I reckon the FA needs to do more to protect the grassroots referees and stop any incidents like that from happening. Maybe have an FA official there, just to nurture again, back to nurturing not just young players, but nurturing young referees as well, so that they'd be able to cope with those kinds of situations should they arise. They shouldn't in the first place, but at least, they'd have the wherewithal to say, this is the situation, this is how I can deal with it. So it goes back to like nurturing young talent, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I had the pleasure of speaking with someone who does resilience training with referees, and he was telling us about the abuse that they receive, and it's just these guys are giving up the time on a weekend. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not massive money they're getting paid, but they're going out and getting screamed at by parents, and I mean, it must be daunting for a 14-year-old. I mean, if I got screamed at by someone who was twice behind at 14, I'd never want to do it again. Liam, what's your thoughts on grassroots football and the treatment that the referees have been getting?
I think the main thing that people need to remember is that, whether they're a referee or a linesman or any sort of official, they are still people. And it is just a game at the end of the day. It's kids, it's adults just having a laugh, enjoying themselves. Nothing's ever going to be perfect in grassroots football. But I think, doing as much as we can to stop the abuse that officials get is definitely a step towards being, perfect. And, decisions are never going to go certain people's ways. Like, it just happens.
Yeah. We'll move on. Talk something that we know a bit more about. I mean, I'm guilty of not really getting.
Can I just put in, Andrew? I think
Yeah, of course.
I'd like to see sort of women encouraged, because I think women get more respect, not just professionally, but I think on an amateur level as well. I'd love to see more women get involved. I don't know if that's possible, not just with women's football, of course, but in men's football, because I think men are a little bit, it's our, what our culture's like. We are struggling even back on the terraces now. It's getting a bit nasty at times, but I think we can encourage more women into amateur, into the grassroots football as referees, etc. I think that'd be a good thing as well, and there's not really much mentioned about that, but I think there's more respect from, I know we've got that lady linesman. She's refed the game as well, hasn't she? I think I think I'm sure she has.
A female official in the League Two.
Yeah, and I think that if you can get that, I know we probably wouldn't want to do it. I mean, obviously, I'm not going on a Sunday morning to Offend Park near, one of the rough, I'm not doing that, but that'd be a great thing if we could encourage women to do it, because I think real men, and there's plenty of us about, show a lot more respect to ladies than obviously we perhaps would to a guy. So I think that should be looked into. But as I say, that's just top of my head now. I only just thought of it when you were talking about it then, to be honest with you. But it would be an interesting thing.
Yeah, I mean, gender or not, it shouldn't really matter. I mean, you just treat them with respect. They are still. I think that's what Nathan said when I was speaking to him, that he thinks that sometimes people really struggle to see there's an actual person behind the black kit and the whistle. We'll move on to talk about referees in the Premier League, and as ever, VAR's been controversial as ever this season. Liam, how do you feel VAR's been used this season? Do you think it's consistent enough how it's being used?
I think it's definitely better than what it was last season. In terms of consistency, I don't feel like I've watched enough Premier League games to know about consistency, but I think maybe looking at Newcastle's games, it's been inconsistent, I'd say, definitely in an unbiased note, like decisions that have maybe gone against us that should have gone our way, or maybe it's a penalty that shouldn't have been a penalty that's been given. You look at the Brighton game, I think, for example. Shouldn't have been a penalty whatsoever. I think out of sheer frustration as well, the red card that Sanchez got in the last minute, I always will say that's something maybe a bit more extreme should have been done about that. But no, I feel like VAR will probably always be quite inconsistent. Like I said, though, it is definitely better than how it was last season, especially the offsides. I think they've gotten a lot better with the offside calls. It's not as strict this time. It's not millimeters. It's actual clear, I can't even find the word, just clear differences to what is onside and offside. So
Bernard, not to point it out, but you've obviously been watching football a lot longer than I have, or Liam has. How do you, or Jonathan, sorry, but how do you feel about the technological advancements in officiating and in football? Do you think it's the right thing they're doing, or do you think they need to take a step back and just stop where it's at the minute?
Well, we can't do anything now, guys, can we? It's here to stay, and I think I sense in the ground as well. I sense in the ground we're just accepting this now. I mean, there was one obviously in our game against Everton, which from where I was, it looked a bit soft anyway when Sterling went over, and obviously as soon as the ref was sent over to look at the monitor, we just knew as fans were all around us that it's going to be caught. It's not going to be a penalty. It's going to be reversed as soon as you ask him to look at the monitor, and it's like. We the last time we were in, obviously before COVID. I mean, there's a lot of animosity. FVAR and all this when it, you know, whether it went for us or against us, the City fans were singing exactly the same thing, whether it went for us or against us, we were singing FVAR, you know. But now we're sort of more or less just accepting it now. I think we sort of give up and accept it for all its faults, and it's not perfect. I thought it would be better than it is, to be honest with you. I don't like the way it stops play. I would rather just go back to the old days, and you look at a linesman, if he's not got a flag up, you can celebrate, and it's great. Now you can't, and it has ruined that element of it. It's not ruined it enough for me to stop me going, as some people have. I mean, some people have stopped going. It has ruined it that much, certainly for older fans. But younger fans who are going to grow up with it will be used to it. And that's all there is to it. But as I say, it has ruined it for me. But as I said, we've just sort of more or less accepted it now for what it is, and we have to put up with it if we still want to enjoy our football teams and enjoy going to football.
Yeah, I can imagine you have a tough relationship with VAR after the Champions League semi-final a couple of seasons ago with against Spurs. Jonathan, there's talks of the automated offsides coming in. Do you think that's something we need in? I mean, I don't know how it works. Have they got cameras running down each side? Is it going to be like the rabbits that the greyhounds chase? What's your thoughts, mate?
Lots of players have got hats on, little clothes on their hats and stuff. Yeah, I know.
But to be honest, I have absolutely no idea how they're going to implement that. I mean, what's the new rule now? They wait until a move's done before they put the flag up.
I think it's dangerous. I really don't like the whole wait for the flag to go up, because I mean, who was it got clapped? Keeper a couple of weeks ago, and it's just like things like that are going to happen if you think it's like just flag it straight away.
I mean, from an EFL point of view, we haven't got VAR, have we? I mean, we've gone back to the days before VAR, and we've got our own dodgy decisions in the EFL. But yeah, the whole offside thing, it's a bit confusing how they're going to implement that, considering like the whole leave the flag down until the move's done obviously isn't working. I mean, you know, for argument's sake, Watford scores a goal, but then like straight after, all the Watford fans are going mental, and then the flag goes up, and that puts people off as well. And it's like, right, I'm not coming to the stadium again and all that. So the club itself then loses money in gate receipts. So I don't know how they're gonna sort this. I mean, I'm on the outside looking in to the Premier League, you know, being a supporter of a Championship club. So I'm not too sure how that's going to come about.
Liam, did you hear that? No VAR in the Championship. Might have to get used to that again.
Well, let's not say anything a bit too earlier.
No, it's not manifest. But
the EFL refs aren't much better than the Premier League refs. So.
Well, I remember in the Championship, Burton at home. What an abysmal refereeing performance that was. Oh,
who was it? The Lansbury. Can you remember that? Sorry, lads, we're going to go off on one about Newcastle here. Nottingham Forest was away when he got two red cards. Both red cards got rescinded. The EFL, the officiating really isn't great.
Don't get me started on the Fulham away game this season.
Jonathan, you mentioned when goals get fired off. I mean, when it's you and it's your team, it's the most frustrating thing ever, because you've given it everything. When the goal gives in, you're like, yes, come on, get in. But when it's the other team, there's just something. I mean, when it's like, if it's like a leveler for them or them going in front, bearing in mind you're not getting battered, there's something so satisfying, isn't it? Just seeing the away fans just grovel and just curl up into a ball of cringe.
And that's the weird thing about it. Yeah, that's like. You hate it when it happens to you, but you love it when it happens to the other team. It's just weird.
The funny thing is, I mean, it's hard for me to remember being dead chuffed about something being, ruled against us, against the other team. I mean, you might say I'm being biased, but I mean, it all seems to be the other way around for me. I don't ever remember being happy that something was disallowed. I think once or twice, yes, I can remember it, but I can certainly remember far more of the other where we've been absolutely dejected. And I say that's just obvious conspiracy theories. You can say what you want, but I don't even enjoy. I think most City fans, I don't even enjoy it when it works for us. We just us, don't they? It's just either way, whether it's for us or against us, we're just apathetic now. We're just sick of it, and it doesn't really have that much of it. If it was a Champions League quarter final in the last minute and it worked for us, we might change our minds. But as at this point in time, nothing's ever happened that's been that important that it's made it very special for us, to be honest with you, when it's gone our way.
Yeah, we just seem to have given a lot of penalties away this season because of VAR. So our defenders just keep tripping over themselves and taking other defenders down in the process. But I mean, the one, we've had a couple of really good VAR decisions. I mean, the penalty we got last minute against Tottenham last season, which Liam wasn't a penalty, was it? It was a really soft. I'm sure the handball rule got changed after that decision, didn't it?
Don't know what you're on about. It wasn't
the Eric the Eric Dyer one.
Stone wall penalty, mate. I don't know what you're on about. No, I completely get it. That wasn't a penalty. Come on. I think Jamie Carragher summed it up perfectly when he said it was a disgrace to football.
Well, that's the thing is. I mean, it's not because the referee's making an error, is it, guys? It's because someone's looking at television, someone's looking at a screen, deciding what you know is wrong is right, or whatever, or which way around it is. Absolutely unbelievable.
I've always wanted, rather than having VAR or anything, I've always wanted the referees just to be mic'd up. I feel like decisions could be justified so much easier if the referees just had a microphone on them, so we could hear why they've actually made the decision.
Yeah, that new ref from Australia. Is it Jared? I think he's Jared or something or other. His video where he's mic'd up is brilliant. But if the official was to be mic'd up, I'd want to hear a live stream of all of them, all of them mic'd up. And I mean, where me and Liam are massive fans of Formula One, you hear the FIA talking. You get to hear them talking to
the team radio,
talking to the pit walls. So that's something I would really like to be implemented. Maybe not even in trial it in like the Carabao Cup or something. I mean, it's
don't they have that in rugby where the
They did it in the FA Cup final. I think it was 2017 or 18. The Chelsea Man U one. They had it then, and it seemed to work quite well. Like you saw, I think it was Jones was the last man, and obviously he brought Hazard down, and it was only a yellow card, and you heard the justification straight away because you heard it was a genuine attempt to play the ball, and then it's straight away you're going, oh yeah, it is a yellow card, it's not a red card or anything like that. It's just simple things, isn't it? Little microphone, that's all you need.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear what the VAR officials said. I mean, because he's tucked up nicely in the little cozy room with all these tellies. Do you think they're watching the game all the time? Because I sometimes watching it again. Surely they're not watching the game.
You'd go on your phone for a minute, wouldn't you?
Just on Uber Eats ordering your half-time meal.
Yeah, exactly.
But, look, we'll move on. You just mentioned before, Jonathan, Bernard, you both mentioned about VAR maybe pushing fans away from the game. But one thing that has really started pushing fans away the last few years is the cost of the game. In England, the cost of this game is getting an absolute joke. The reports that were out earlier this week about Chelsea, they've had an area developed, and because it's not the fans' fault that have been sat in that area who've paid over $1,000 for the season ticket already, that might be tripling the costs of it. But Bernard, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously City have these £285, £300 tickets, don't they? But there's literally there's not many of them. I mean, it's sort of, they always brag about it, but I mean, I stand up and I pay £655 a year, which isn't bad. It isn't bad going for 19 games. I have to pay for all the other games on top, of course, but. Yeah, I mean, we've had the same thing. I mean, this Chelsea thing, I mean, as long as people are willing to pay that price and they know they can get it from commercial side or whatever, that they're going to do it. We had the Tunnel Club, you may have heard of the Tunnel Club. I mean, people will move for that, and it's unbelievable the amount of money you pay just for one game to go and watch it in the Tunnel Club. You know, it's lottery winning sort of fees. It's absolutely, to look through look through a tunnel, a two-way tunnel. You can see the players walking through. They can't see you, but you can see them. It's just ridiculous. And obviously Chelsea are limited, aren't they? Let's face it. They want a bigger ground, don't they? Let's be honest about it. It's not big enough for what they want as a ground. They get a bit stuck on expanding, aren't they? I think they've tried and they've wanted to move grounds and they've wanted to do things. But so obviously they've got to find ways of getting extra income, and they're in London. Tottenham have done it. Obviously, they've built a bigger ground. Fantastic, get more income. They dwarf probably our income now at Spurs with the 60,000 capacity sort of thing. And Chelsea got to keep up, and I can't blame them for that. But obviously, as you said, fans who've been paying say 1,200 quid are all of a sudden they're expected to pay 3,600 or whatever it is. It's just ridiculous. But the say is these clubs know if people are willing to pay it, especially in London, where you do get all no disrespect to London, but you do get a lot of tourist fans who just it's part of the experience of being in London. It doesn't matter who you're watching, West Ham, London, Chelsea, Tottenham. It doesn't matter, does it? It's just a fact of going to a match, a Premier League match, and stuff like that, and people will pay it. People will pay that price. So I can't blame Chelsea as such for trying to maximise income, but it's not great for the ordinary fan. As I say, it's a lot of people just stop going. I think John mentioned it there. I mean, obviously, simple things like VAR stop people going. So if you're having to pay twice or three times more than you normally pay, then you know what's the point? You may as well go and watch it on the telly. But it's depressing, really, very depressing.
Yeah, with my uni being based at the Etihad, we've got quite good access around the ground. I mean, our little student chill out bit was in the Citizens Bar bit. I don't know if you've been in there, but it just seems like there's loads of different areas around the ground where tickets are, I guess, sky high. Is even brought in a traditional pub.
There's a pub in the corner, and you pay. That's not too excessive, but I mean, it's like a pub atmosphere, and it's like a little section in the corner, about 100, 200 seats or something like that. So there's so it's all little quirky things, and if you want to pay a little bit more, but as long as there's still plenty of things we can sort of pay for, just generally, normal prices, if you like. I mean, the people are whinging about the PSG because it's about £55, but obviously if you're a season card holder, you get it a bit cheaper overall anyway, because you have them all lumped together, the cheaper games and the day games. But I mean, it was more than that. It's a bit better at City now, actually, price wise. But as I say, the problem's not price at City; it's problems of getting into the ground with season. People give up because they can't get into the place because they can't use the ticketing system. It's an absolute joke. Literally, people have actually deferred the season cards this year because of this new way of ticketing, because people can't cope with it, and the system can't cope. But they keep doing it, and you end up with loads of queues before kick-off, and it's just putting people off. It's not the price; it's because you can't get in the ground at the Etihad. That's the problem. They're not making it easy for fans to get. You can't get a card anymore. There's no season cards now. It's all on your phone. I mean, I'm old, but I'm okay. I'm not too bad with technology, but I stand there watching them coming in the turnstiles, and what should take 5 seconds takes about 30 seconds, 45 seconds. It just times that by tens of thousands. It's ridiculous, really.
Yeah, the last time I was at City was, I think, was the Shakhtar. The last time he's played Shakhtar in the Champions League in 2019, I think. The queues then were just mental. It just seems like it was taking forever to get in.
Yeah, that was when we had cards, and now it's even worse now. It's phones. Everyone, I had to put mine in the slot. It wouldn't work, my scan the other day. So it took me a minute to get in. Normally it takes me 5 seconds. So it's just ridiculous. But I mean, that's not price. That's not the cost. That's actually being treated as though you're wanted. It's as though you're not wanted and they don't want you there. Replace you with somebody willing to pay $3,000 or whatever it is for a game or something like that.
Jonathan, Bernard mentioned Tottenham before. If I'm right in saying, I think it was reported this morning they've ran at a loss again this year and taking them up to somewhere beyond 700 million in debt, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, with a new ground, that's understandable. But do you think that these debts that clubs are in, I mean, you look at the likes of Man United, they're in a colossal amount of debt. This obviously isn't helping the prices, because the more debt the club's just running themselves in, they're obviously charging fans more to get in.
No, absolutely. I mean, they've built the stadiums, they've had the costs for all the construction and the admin and everything like that. And yeah, of course, season ticket prices as a consequence will skyrocket. I'm not sure how Chelsea's financial status is to warrant them to skyrocket the prices like that. But in the Championship, ours is only like £400 season ticket. But yeah, I mean, we have the exact same issues as Bernard does with his season card. We have it at the Hawthorns quite a few times, to be honest. And the stewards have to like do the manual release on the turnstile every so often. I mean, it hasn't happened with me, but I've seen other Albion fans with their cards not scanning properly, and they've had to do the manual release. But yeah, it's a consequence of development, isn't it? With the season tickets, and obviously, you know, every Premier League club wants to be successful. They want to develop the ground. They want to get a good squad in. They want to win trophies, and unfortunately, the financial cost of that is a big consequence of trying to get successful.
Yeah, Bernard, you made another great point before about the teams in London and how they skyrocket their season ticket prices. I remember seeing a thing a couple of years ago, I think Copper 90 did it on Arsenal fans that had given up their season tickets and rather pay ridiculous amounts to go and watch that Big Six club, would travel over to Germany and go watch Dortmund, because it would actually work out round about the same price, I think. Which moves us on to the next point, Liam. I'll ask you about this. In Germany, they have the 50+1 rule, meaning the fans have a majority ownership of their club. Is this something you would like to maybe see be implemented within the Premier League?
Yeah, so this is something that me and the rest of us spoke on behind the leases about last season, obviously when we had the previous hierarchy at Newcastle United. I'm definitely all for the 50+1 rule. I've read up a little bit about it a while ago, and you know, football clubs will still be getting the same amount of investment. It's just the fans, or you know, an important spokesperson would have the final say on things, and it makes the clubs a lot better. I think a good example in Germany's Hertha Berlin. You know, they've had massive investments in the past couple of years with new owners. I think, you know, transfer windows are spending over 100 million each window, and that's in January as well. But the fans have still got the majority stake in things. So if there was ever a problem, you know, they would have the final say on what goes. So yeah, I think even looking at the owners that we've got now, I'd still be happy with a 50+1 rule in our case, because like I said, obviously we just have the final say, and whatever, you know, the majority says goes, basically.
I think we've got the pleasure though with our owners, the amount of communication that we'll have with them now. It's maybe already like that, maybe slightly. They do certainly seem to listen to the fans, but you see the likes of these clubs. Well, Arsenal, they've been bringing players in that really the fans haven't really wanted. Bernard, with the 50+1 rule, be something you would like to see come in?
I think it's odd, isn't it? I mean, I think of German football, and all I think of is Bayern Munich. That's all I think of. And I think there's a culture in Germany that obviously a lot of English teams have got it, where obviously you accept what you've got and just go along with it. And the trouble is, in Germany, it's just Bayern Munich and nobody else, and everyone's happy with that. And teams like Hertha Berlin that Liam just mentioned there, I mean, obviously, you know, I'd love to see them start winning German titles and start winning German cups. But is it going to happen? I mean, but the Hertha Berlin fans are probably happy with what they've got. I mean, as a City fan 20 years ago, we were crap, but I was happy with what we've got because I was happy with it. But obviously, things are different here, aren't they? I don't want to become a country and a league where once at least now, all right, it might only be 2 or 3 teams with the potential to win these things, but at least it's one or two more than you've got in Germany. So yeah, I don't know too much about the 50+1 thing, but as fans of our football teams, whether we're successful or not, we are fans of our football team. It doesn't matter to me whether we're top of the Premier or we're in the Championship or we're in non-league. I will still be going, or you know, like Stockport County. If I was a Stockport County fan, I'd still be going. going. It doesn't bother me. But obviously, the culture we've got now, it's a million miles away, mate, and it's never going to happen. Certainly not in. I don't think it's ever going to happen in this country. There's too many people got too much to lose in this country now with the investments.
Yeah, I have to say I'm a big admirer of the Bundesliga. Pronunciation was on point there. And when it was the first league that came back, major league that came back last summer, and I think it certainly turned a few people to watch it. And it's certainly a league that's developing all the time. But the thing I love most about it is it has to be the 50+1 rule, because fans have control. I mean, they protested games. They've got rid of Monday night football's not a thing anymore. Got rid of that, which personally I don't know about you, Jonathan. I would love to see happening in England, because our team Newcastle seems to play away every Monday night.
Yeah, and I mean we Albion seem to keep playing on a Friday lately, so I would love it to be just the traditional Saturday 3:00. Everyone plays in the league, and none of this. We've won, but then the team behind us plays tomorrow, so they could jump us. So are we going to be top come Monday? I would just like to go back to the old traditional Saturday 3 p.m. kickoffs for everyone. And then, you've got a routine then. I mean, people work on a Monday, people work on a Friday, people work midweek. And there's games on those nights. I mean, in the Championship, we've got games tonight. Albion's currently playing Blackpool. So, and that as well, it's like the away day.
What score is it, mate?
It's still 0-0. Still 0-0. Right. Yeah. But that's my point. It's a Tuesday night, and some of our guys are in Blackpool when, they've probably had to take a day off work. And personally, I think that's ridiculous, to be honest. So, yeah, I would just love to see Saturday 3 p.m. every week, and, everyone plays at the same time. Tables done by Saturday night, match of the day's on, Quest is on, and then that's it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the fixtures for Saturday's Bundesliga games, and there's 5 games on 2:30, and then Bayern Munich are on at 5:30. That's just, I would love to see that over here. I mean, where are we? Arsenal at 12:30 on Saturday, and that is, you either you go down Friday night, staying the night in London, which costs a fortune, or you're on a coach at 3:00 in the morning, which our friend
young Adam is there.
Young Adam, yeah. Liam, is that something you would like to see, the scrapping of these ridiculously early kickoffs for TV, and fans maybe having more control and say of when games are going to be on?
I think it'd be nice to have a bit more say, but in all honesty, I'm rather indifferent with it. I quite like that there's football on every other night and things like that. I do understand it. It's very, very I think annoying for football fans, as a Newcastle fan, having to travel to the seaside to watch Brighton play away and things like that on a Saturday evening. Obviously, it's not nice, but you're gonna have to do it anyways. And it's either you do a 7-hour round trip earlier in the day, or it's just going to be later in the day that you do that 7-hour round trip. So, I'm pretty indifferent on it. But just another thing on that 50+1 rule, I'd love to see maybe it's a few, not non-league clubs, but clubs in like League One, League Two, maybe implement that sort of thing. I know Rochdale, a club that I'm involved with a little bit now, they've just released shares that fans can buy, and it just sort of cements like the long-term future of the club. I know Exeter do it as well. So I think, there's like a fan trust for Rochdale that they've got about 100,000 shares in the club. And it just means if anything did go wrong for the club, then the fans have still got all these shares. They can still invest whatever money they have. And it keeps the club alive just for a little bit longer, doesn't it? Obviously we saw what happened to Bury. Of course, Andy, you spoke to Robbie Savage about Macclesfield earlier this week. So, I mean, I'd hate to see, something like that happen to another club,
Well, Christ, I just forgot how to talk. Not like me. Look, we're on the topic of leagues, so what we'll do is we'll have a switch around of the topics in order we're going to run, because we're going to talk about our fabulous waistcoat wearer, Gareth Southgate, next. But what we'll do is we're on the topic of leagues, so we may as well get it out now. It's a debate that's gone on for years. We're obviously all going to be biased. is the Premier League the best league in the world? Bernard, what do you think, mate?
Well, it's the best league as far as entertainment, but that's me. I don't you guys watch Bundesliga and stuff like that. I've tried to watch other European things, but entertainment, yeah. I mean, even I see some people and they watch, say, a championship game and they're critical of it, but I mean, you only have to look at that game the other night. Was it Stockport County and Bolton, wasn't it? I mean, there was nothing, it's certainly not pep football, was it? But what a game. I mean, that was fantastic. I'm sure you have those games in other countries as well. So to say the Premier League is above everything, I think that's wrong. I think just English football in general at whatever level, I love it. I love what I watch. I'll watch a match on a park. I'm not really overly bothered. It's just we have a bit more of a dynamic, something like that. Anyway, a bit more dynamic than some other leagues because of the weather. I think we work harder because it's so cold. So I think we actually have a much better entertaining league. So yeah, I wouldn't totally agree with the Premier. I would say yes, the Premiership probably is, but so is the Championship, so is that League One, League Two, and non-league football. I think it's pretty entertaining.
Bernard, I'll stay with you because you were, I wouldn't say victims, but a certain Kylian Mbappe was rather pleased when Lyon knocked. Oh God, I'm really at it with the pronunciations tonight. Sorry, when Lyon knocked us out of the Champions League a couple of years ago, when he tweeted after he put Farmers League in all caps with Club League. Do you think it is competitive enough?
I lost a bit of you then, Andrew, mate. Sorry, I lost about the last 10 seconds, I think, of what you were saying.
What did you last hear?
About the Farmers League. What did you say after that?
Yeah, so, Kylian Mbappe tweeted out Farmers League with loads of clown emojis. But he's restored the faith in the English game, knocked PSG out last year, I believe.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying?
I would never. I mean, I know it's a common thing, isn't it? Farmers League for the French league, but I mean, yeah. I mean, again, it's a bit like the German league, isn't it? I mean, the Premier League's got at the moment probably 3 cracking teams, and then the rest are sort of a little bit below it at the moment. But that can change year on year. We know that. I'm hoping we can do one with PSG tomorrow because I thought we were a better team over there. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're going to have the team they built and the players they can get, I mean, yeah, of course, teams like Lyon, they were a good team. Nothing wrong with Lyon; were a cracking team. So there's no disrespect for them beating City in that Champions League that time. It was gutting for us, obviously, but no one's perfect. And I say English teams used to always do well in Europe, and we're doing well again. But I think nothing. I would never insult, say, the French league and call it a Farmers League. But we know what it is. So Mr. Mbappe, anyway, he's happy to play there, but I'm sure he's not playing there for a 50 quid a week, is he? Let's be honest about it. So, but he's bound to defend where he is. He's obviously getting paid, isn't he? But there you go. I think it's obviously for people like Mbappe. Unusual, isn't it? He's I don't know what he's on. He must be on a few quid. Let's be honest about it. So but all credit to him. It's have a laugh, and that's what it's. But football is banter, isn't it, mate? That's all it is. That's what it's supposed to be. It's when it gets a bit nasty. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, like you say, we're on the topic of Lyon anyway, and you said like getting a bit nasty. Jonathan, I don't know if you saw earlier in the week that the game between Lyon and Marseille, which is a big derby game in France anyway, had to be abandoned because Dimitri Payet got hit in the head with a bottle. Just how do you feel? Like there's been a lot of incidents in French football recently where fans have ran on the pitch and assaulted players.
Yeah, it's the second time it's happened to Payet now, isn't it? This season.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know much about the incident with Dimitri Payet. I've seen the photos where he's on the ground, but yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, and fans really shouldn't do that. There had been an incident over the weekend in Scottish football as well, Dundee United against Aberdeen, where a fan literally put his hands on an Aberdeen player, and the Aberdeen player got a second yellow and got sent off for some reason.
For his own protection, probably.
Yeah, well, the Scottish FA had a chance to rescind the one-match ban, but they haven't done it. So they haven't exactly helped Aberdeen there. But yeah, no fan should, endanger a player like that. And whoever, in my opinion, whoever endangers a player, is not a football fan. It's got to be said. You're there at the stadium to watch some football, get entertained, not to throw glass bottles at the players.
Yeah, I mean, we're all for a bit of jubilation when fans storm the pitch and have the celebrations, as we've seen at City a couple of times over the last years, because you have won things. I mean, I would love to see it happen at St James's Park, but let's be honest, no one wants to run on the pitch because you've won the Championship lane.
I think it was our last on the pitch at your place, 68, wasn't it? I think that's the last time we're on the pitch celebrating. I've got a long memory, mate. Don't worry.
What I want to do is we'll do a little tier list each of the top 5 leagues in Europe. Liam, I'll start with you.
Right. So 5th, I'll say
the French top.
I'll go from bottom to top. Yeah. So 5th, I'll say Ligue 1 pronunciation. Just because Bernard said we'll not call it a Farmers League, but so there is still a bit of quality in there. You see your PSGs, your Marseilles, your Lyons, your Lilles. Cracking players that come out of that French league as well. 4th to the Spanish league, I must say, the BBVA. Not what it was, Barcelona seem like they're lacking now. Atleti seem like they're lacking a little bit now. Real Madrid certainly lacking now as well. It just feels like when a league wins a title, or sorry, when a team wins a title in that league now, it doesn't feel as special because the teams just aren't the work.
I agree, mate. I completely agree. It's lost its shine, hasn't it? The La Liga, since it's lost Ronaldo and Messi, Neymar as well. It's just, I don't know. El Clasico used to be the world of football would stop when the El Clasico was on. That. I'm not bothered.
No, it's just
I don't bother now.
It's just a bit naff, mate. Yeah, I completely get it. 3rd, though, I'd say Serie A. Really, really big fan of Italian football. I think it's a shame that I wasn't alive when it was on Channel 4 because I'd absolutely love that. I'd be able to watch the Serie A games on Channel 4, watching Roma, my Italian team. The 2nd, I'd say it's got to be the Bundesliga. Once again, loads of quality in that league, and I think closest in terms of physicality and pace to the Premier League as well. Really, really entertaining football at times. And then, of course, Premier League top. I feel like nothing challenges the Premier League in terms of entertainment. Maybe the Championship, actually. The Championship's quite entertaining when you watch it. But just some of the best players in the world, if not, the best players in the world. If you look at, players at Liverpool, Mo Salah in particular, just, out of this world players. And nothing really comes near it in terms of the other few leagues.
Bernard, what would your top 5 be?
Yeah, I wouldn't totally disagree. I say I'm not a keen watcher of any of the other leagues, to be honest with you. So I'd have to go with what you guys think there. Obviously, you watch these things all the time, but it sounds about right, because if you do, certainly the Spanish league and the Italian league are not what they used to be, and we seem to have a glut in the Premiership, and we always will do, because we pay the wages as well, because we got all the TV. This is why we have all the silly kickoffs, and you can't have one without the other, unfortunately. We get the money, so we can pay these guys, and we get most of the talent, don't we? So I think you see a sprinkling, of course, young talent and some of the older talent abroad, but I think you can't really beat the Premier League as far as the names are concerned at the moment, and some of those other leagues, especially the Spanish and Italian league, are struggling just a little bit, aren't they? I think, but it comes in circles. I'm sure they'll come back. I'm sure it'll all come back. I remember watching Channel 4 Italian stuff, and even I was quite excited at the time, just with the introduction to the programme, and never mind what was on that afterwards. So I think I turned it off after the introduction. I think it's something to do with Lazio. So Lazio was shouted or something somewhere in it. Anyway,
Go Lazio. That was it.
So I remember that bit about it, but I'll leave it to you guys to say whether the Bundesliga is the second best. I assume it is, because that's probably certainly better the Italian Italian and the Spanish and the French. So not much different, to be honest with you.
Jonathan, what about you, mate?
Yeah, I would actually put the French league 5th and Spanish league 4th, but the rest of it, absolutely agree. I mean, I don't think they've been mentioned yet, but RB Leipzig a few years ago challenged Bayern Munich a couple of seasons, but
They're still about there, I think, as well. I think this is the common conception with the German league is that it's all Bayern Munich, so they're the one that does the best in the Champions League, really.
Yeah.
But it's actually usually a lot closer than you would think. Dortmund are a point behind them at the minute.
And I mean, the Italian league kind of lost their shine when Juventus had their problems and got relegated all the way down to the bottom. And it used to be like the Milan clubs and Roma.
I mean, the Milan clubs, you just don't hear anything now, do you, about them, unless it's bad. You don't hear too much about them at all.
No, of course.
I think they've very much come back together now. The Milan teams that had a few years fallen off. Obviously, Inter won the league last season. AC, I mean, Ibra's nearly 40-year-old and he's absolutely still storming the way for them. I mean, AC, I'm just looking now, AC are second and Inter are third. Juventus have fell right off again since losing Ronaldo. They're eighth. So I have to agree with what you lads have said. I think, Liam, I would probably go with your order. I think, Jonathan, you might have had the same there.
I just swapped the French and the Spanish leagues over.
It's an interesting one. I think the Serie A, the BT are really trying to push it now. I know it's on BT now, so I'll catch the highlights on the YouTube and stuff when I can. I think it's certainly, I don't know if they're trying to push it the way the Italian league was in the 90s. We've seen Roma have brought across Tammy Abraham with obviously Jose Mourinho going over there, and there's English players getting linked across there all the time. I know Micah Richards went to Fiorentina when he left City. So I mean, I love to watch a bit of the foreign football. It's just I feel like you watch the Premier League and then you've been watching some of the other leagues at the minute, and you just doesn't live up to it. You'd rather watch the Prem.
Yeah, I'd just like to mention as well, they're not a European league, but Sky Sports seem to be pushing a lot of MLS lately.
Well, that's a league that's been developing quite rapidly. I mean, Beckham went over there really well early days. That was just after the penalty shootouts used to be. You'd run from the halfway line with the ball and have a one-on-one.
Which they want to bring back as well. They want to bring them back.
I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of them, but it's amazing. I would love to see it. Maybe. I'm going off on one, but make the Carabao Cup interesting. You know how they go to they go straight. You know what? It goes to straight penalties anyway. If it's a draw in 90 minutes, do that. Make it a bit interesting. I mean, Bernard, I know you'll probably.
Yeah, I think we could replay the West Ham game with it. Can we do that again?
I was going to say it seems wrong. It seems wrong that you're out of it. You know what I mean? It's, I'm quite interested to see who will actually win it this year. But yeah, I'd quite like to see that fruit up the Carabao Cup again. I mean, Liam, I don't know if you watched the Burnley Cup game that we had. It was god awful. But we'll move on. Our man Gareth Southgate signed on till 2024. Liam, do you think it's a deserved contract extension? Were you happy when you seen he signed on again?
Well, I mean, why wouldn't he sign on again? Why wouldn't the FA not want him to sign on? We finished fourth in the World Cup 2018, third in the Nations League 2019, second in the Euros 2020, 2021. And it'll be first in the World Cup in Qatar next year. Obviously, just completing the perfect quartet. No, on a serious note, it's really, really good news. I think that's Gareth Southgate is staying on. He's a fantastic manager. He's a fantastic manager. He's got a lovely little group of players there. I think I mentioned in the last Box to Box just how I think we're probably not going to see much change in the England squad in the next 3-4 years, just because
there doesn't need
all
to
the players are there doesn't need to be, and the players are quite young now. Obviously, they'll develop. Like I mentioned, Jude Bellingham only just turned 18 the past couple of months. these players, we think that they're good now. They'll probably be 3, 4, 5 times better when the next World Cup or
Jude
whenever in
Bellingham's
the
got
end.
the world at his feet, mate.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
What's going to be weird about the next World Cup, which I haven't thought of, the summer transfer window is going to have happened as well. So usually you see some players they'll start piping up in these competitions because I think they've got the world watching, and you play well in the World Cup, you get a big move. And it seems like Paul Pogba decides he can play football whenever there's an international tournament.
It'll just mean that the January transfer window is even hotter because I think the January transfer window is quite disappointing at times. But
when Newcastle fans, man, we've just been used to them being disappointed.
Yeah, we've got a £200 million war chest coming. No more disappointment for us. I think the players will still want to play on as much as they would because they'll still have that extra month in January to prove that they should be signed by a big club in the Premier League or abroad, wherever these players want to go or want to sign from.
Bernard, we were so close in the summer, just that close to winning the Euros. Do you think Southgate is a cup winner? Do you think he can be a cup winner?
He's a nice guy, as Liam said, but he's not someone I like. He's not someone who I think could take England just to that next level. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if it was on. I don't think it was. It might have been Jonathan, but it might have been someone else who was mentioning this Potter guy at Brighton, who I've obviously went down and watched the game the other week. I would love someone like him looking after our young players and the players we've already got. I think England would be a far better outfit with someone like Potter in charge of them than Southgate. He's too much of a yes man. He's ideal for the FA. He's not going to cause any problems. Lovely bloke. Does his adverts, does his various things. But I'd love it. I love him to win the World Cup for England and then the next European Championship, which he's there for as well, isn't he? But no, I think we should have put someone else in and say someone like Potter at Brighton. They should have just paid the world and said, "Look, do you fancy this little thing?" And I think he might have gone for it. I know he's obviously settled at Brighton, but he'd go. Who wouldn't want to sort of have a go at with the team we've got, with the players we've got? This is the thing. I mean, it is a poison chalice, but we've got such good players there that any half decent manager would fancy it. And I'm probably saying Southgate's not a half decent manager. So, yeah, that's my opinion anyway.
I can imagine for Graham Potter that the England job would be on his agenda maybe in a few years, but I remember seeing, I think he coached a foreign team, I can't remember where, but it certainly seems Graham Potter's really at the start of his managerial.
Yeah, well, then he can go back. He can go back and do club football after, can't he? But I mean, as I say, it'd just be ideal for me. But as I say, it's not going to happen, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, look, England only play when Premier League teams aren't playing, but you'd maybe like to see him do both. I don't know if managers can, but take on.
Yeah, it has been tried, hasn't it? It has been tried before, but you've got to be sort of dedicated, haven't you? But it's doable. It's doable, but as I say, I wouldn't mind. But as I say, I think Southgate's got his own little slot now, hasn't he? I think he's quite happy there, and the FA are happy with him, so nothing much is going to happen anytime soon.
Jonathan, how do you feel on Southgate, mate? Do you think it was right to keep him on?
I think it was right, to be honest, but he's got quite a bit to learn from the Euros in particular. I mentioned this last week about how in the World Cup, I said it again, the World Cup final, in the European final, we scored early and then just sat back for the rest of the game. And against a team like Italy, or another top team like your Brazils, your Spains, your Belgiums, you just can't do that. And it's a case of, if he's going to be in this job till 2024, then he's got to have a look at his tactics and basically say to himself, right, what can I do to improve them? I've got this group of players and, we'll be playing against some of the best teams in the world. How am I and how is the team going to beat them and finally lift the trophy?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way on earth that England should be playing 5 at the back with the attacking talent that we have. And I mean, even in defence, some of the attacking talent we've got in the defence. Reece James has been scoring goals for fun recently in the Premier League. Batted 2 in against us, 2 great finishes as well, by the way. But like you said, Bernard, as well, my main concern with Southgate is, does he have the minerals to win a competition? Liam, you mentioned the kind of crescendo that he's going down with the fourth, then the third, then the second. Look, I would love him to win us a World Cup, of course I would. But it's just, can he? That is my main problem. And I think his main thing he needs to do is get a hold of Harry Kane and go, look, you're a striker, play like one, stick up top, and just wait for the ball. Don't come tracking back. Because that was half the problem in the Euros. We were getting forward, getting in some brilliant positions. Harry Kane wasn't there. He was halfway on the halfway line.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, I think Southgate's very easy to doubt. I don't know why, but I think he's very easy to doubt. Do you think that's right, Liam?
Yeah, I think just being the England manager in general, there's always going to be, so much doubt surrounding you. It would have been the case for, Sven-Goran Eriksson, Fabio Capello, all these, big names who were managers in different times for England. But Southgate, in terms of what he's achieved, he's done a lot better than them. And, there still will be that criticism. But like I said, it's always going to surround the England job. It's just such a big role. You're not just representing a football club. You're not just representing a region. You're representing the whole country in this case. So, yeah, of course, there's going to be a lot of controversy, a lot of speculation on how well you're going to do in certain games, certain tournaments. So,
yeah, Christmas is just around the corner. I mean, I'm looking at it now. We're getting into the 23rd. It's only a month and a bit away. So something we are doing in the lead up to Christmas is we're asking certain little questions. So the first one I'm going to ask, guys, is who do you think will be the Premier League top scorer at the end of the season? Bernard, I'll start with you, mate.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Liverpool. I would have thought someone from Salah. Has got to be Salah, surely. I don't know. I think Harry Kane has got a bit of picking up to do, hasn't he? I don't think it'll come from my team, that's for sure. It's spread around too much. We don't have a striker, so that doesn't matter. It'll make any difference, does it? But I think is Salah up there at the moment, guys. Is he
Salah's top. Salah's top.
Yeah, I mean, you can't unless he gets injured. I can't. How can you imagine anybody else, to be honest with you, unless he does pick an injury up? But it's got to be favourite at the moment.
Do you want us to quickly go over the top 10?
Yeah,
would that help? Yep.
Yeah.
So Salah's on 11, and then Mane and Vardy are both on. Mane and Vardy are both on 7. Mikel Antonio on 6 in 4th. Maxwell Cornet, the guy who plays for Umbro Football Club. I don't know if you've seen when he signed for Burnley, he was pointing at the Umbro badge. He's in 5th with 5. Rafinha at Leeds on 5. Ismaila Sarr at Watford, he's on 5. Diogo Jota at 3rd. There's 4 Liverpool players in this top 10, by the way. Jota on 5, Aubameyang at Arsenal on 4, and Firmino on 4.
I'll stick with Salah based on what you've told me now. And I've obviously thought that beforehand, but yeah, definitely, unless he gets injured.
Jonathan?
I would say Salah or Mane. One of them. Definitely a Liverpool player. They're all three strikers at the moment are doing absolute bits. They're destroying teams. They did 5-0 against Man U and 4-0 against Arsenal. They're absolutely destroying teams at the moment. So I would say Salah or Mane.
Liam, are you gonna go rogue? Are you gonna give us an out there shout? Or Go on.
No.
Go on.
You've got to be realistic here, Andy. It's going to be Mo Salah. Like Bernard said, without injury, it will without a doubt be Mo Salah. He's looked absolutely unstoppable this season, and even being 4 goals ahead at this point of the season, it just proves it, doesn't it? I'd well expect him to get over 25 this season if he's got all 11 already after 12 games. So yeah, Mo Salah without a doubt.
It's going to be Salah, isn't it? It's going to be Salah or Mane. Oh, Joelin. Hey, he had a fantastic game on Saturday, didn't he, Liam? We were
He
praising
was
him.
he was
really good.
absolutely fantastic on the ball as well, which I think he's struggled in the past couple of seasons, being working on the ball.
Football is struggling on the ball. That doesn't sound good, does it? Really?
No, you'd be surprised. You'd be very surprised with Joe Linton. No, on the ball he was fantastic. Just really, really good dribbling, passing the ball.
Out of the names that I read out, is there any that have surprised you to be that high up and scored?
No, because there's not that many goals, really, is there? When you think of the second highest was seven out of 12 games. It's not much, is it? Really?
Looking at positions in the league, you'd probably say Rafinha at Leeds.
Yeah,
it's quite a surprise.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, I think you'd expect them to be there.
Bamford's been out for a while as well, so they've needed a talisman to step up. And Rafinha, I mean, he scored that stupid one against us, didn't he? From what was a cross that just went in. Jota, I think. Well, Jota got off to a great start with Liverpool last season, didn't he? And got injured for a while. I mean, he looked great at Wolves when he was there. I tell you, there's one player that's catching me surprised this season who I mean, we're nearly talking 10 years ago when he first came into the league with Aston Villa. Jonathan, I'll let you talk about this one, mate. Christian Benteke finally found some form again.
Yeah, Crystal Palace. I mean, he was banging them in at Villa. We know that here in the Midlands. And then he just, who's it he went to after Villa? He just
Liverpool?
lost some.
It was Liverpool, wasn't it? Yeah.
And he just seemed to lose a bit of form, didn't he? But now at Palace, he's regained his form again. And yeah, he's absolutely banging them in for Palace now as well. And they've got Conor Gallagher as well, who's also
England international.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he's banging in a few goals for Crystal Palace as well at the moment. And he used to be on loan at us last season, Conor Gallagher. So
he is on loan there this season as well, isn't he? From Chelsea. Palace have got a few goal scorers in them. Like they've got that Odsonne Edouard from that they've just signed from Celtic, and of course they've already got Wilfried Zaha, who's also on 4. I'm just having a look down the list now. If there's a couple that have maybe disappointed so far. Romelu Lukaku, Liam, do you think he's only scored 3 so far this season? Do you think? I think he's been injured as well, Mike.
He's been injured, yeah. But I think that was always the thing with Lukaku. He'd score, 3 games in a row, and then he'd blank for another 3 games. So just rather inconsistent for Lukaku. He absolutely stormed the Serie A though last season. I think he was top scorer, wasn't
he?
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll come into his form again, but he'll lose it straight after.
From a Midland standpoint, I'm surprised Ollie Watkins at Villa or Raul Jimenez at Wolves aren't higher.
Oh, Danny Ings. Danny Ings as well.
Danny Ings, yeah.
Danny Ings. Right. What we're going to do is we're going to pretend Liverpool aren't a Premier League club and they don't exist. Liam, who's going to be your Premier League top goal scorer of the season?
Callum Wilson. No.
No. He's on 4. He's on 4.
He is on 4. Top scorer, not in Liverpool. You'd probably have to give it to probably Mikel Antonio. He's been fantastic this season, hasn't he? That Leicester game that he played in especially was brilliant. The one where he held up like the cardboard cutout of himself. He was fantastic in that game. I think he scored, it was either a brace or a hat-trick. And they just looked unstoppable, West Ham. And Antonio there with him.
West Ham have looked class this season. I'm watching all the Europa League games they're playing. I've just good to watch. They're a solid unit. Bernard?
Yeah, I like Antonio actually. I do like. How many goals has he got at the moment? Is he
6? He's
yeah. I mean, I don't disagree much with that. I don't think Vardy. I mean, Leicester are having a bit of struggling at the moment, aren't they? Vardy had his purple patch, but I was going to say Antonio was the other one that sort of took my eye this season. And say West Ham are still playing well. Hopefully, he won't play well this week when we play him. But yeah, I would go for someone like that. I think he's probably a good shout.
Jonathan?
Well, you know what? I'm going to make it 3 for 3 because I was going to say Antonio as well. I was actually going to say Antonio before Liam as well. So
I feel like going, you know what? Liverpool and Mikel Antonio don't exist. I mean, there's one one guy we haven't mentioned who was the biggest signing to come in this summer and maybe leads us into our next topic is who do we back to improve from January and going into the rest of the season. Ronaldo was bagged to be Man United's saviour and the guy that was going to bring them the league title. He's on 4 goals this season, same as the likes of Conor Gallagher, Benteke, Firmino. Liam, do you think Ronaldo can improve going into the new year and further on?
Yeah, well, I think the thing is with Ronaldo, it's not like he's just not performing. He's scoring goals in the Champions League, things like that. It's just not happening for him in the Premier League at the moment. You have to play Ronaldo a certain way now. Now he's lost half a yard of pace and he plays as a striker. You've really sort of got to catch him quite early, whipping early crosses, things like that. You know, he's got a fantastic leap on him. So I just think maybe the assistance around him hasn't been favourable of him because, you know, I'm sure with the right players around him, with the right tactics as well, he's banging, 20 odd goals a season.
Bernard?
Yeah, I mean, he has been carrying United. Obviously, they say he was papering over the cracks mainly because of Ronaldo, to be honest with you. And we know he can down tools and just stroll around, but that's not what he's there for, is he? But I mean, he's one of the guys you've just got to give the ammunition to and just allow him to do what he does. And have a team built around him that works hard. And obviously, he doesn't perhaps have a team around him that works that hard for him at the moment. But yeah, he is the difference at the moment. I mean, they'd be a lot worse off, wouldn't they? Let's be honest about it at this point in time. If he hadn't been there in the Champions League and in the league as well, obviously the Champions League, they'd probably be out of it by now, wouldn't they? Without Ronaldo's assistance. So. Yeah, they need a team around. You know, that's the problem. And he can only do so much on his own because he's you know, he can't fill every gap, can he? At his age now, he's a fit lad, but you're asking a bit much of him. But yeah, I think we'd be top of the league now if we took him on, which was never on the cards. But you know, we had a striker like him, but you can't have him. He don't work hard enough, does he? He don't work hard enough for our sort of team. Great player. I mean, he is a great player, of course he is. But yeah, he's not. I think he must have known that. He must have known that going to United. He must have known what sort of service he was going to get. But I think the 700 grand a week might have helped.
I still think it's that third shirt that Adidas made for Juve that pushed him out. I don't know if you've seen it, but it looks like a volleyball. It's horrible. Yeah. Bernard, who's your team and player you think will improve the most from January?
That's a good one. There's a lot of teams struggling. I mean, Everton, I'm dead surprised how they've started to struggle, but I can't see them turning it around anytime soon. Villa have been struggling. I can't see them turning it around. And obviously, Brentford have sort of hit a ceiling now, haven't they? They're sort of struggling a bit. It's an interesting one, that. Obviously, with Conte at Spurs, I think they'll improve now. I think they will do better. I'm not going to say they're going to win much, but I think from what they've been doing, I think they're the team that will have a better second half of the season than first half. So yeah, I'll probably go with Tottenham, to be honest, with Conte sort of getting used to him and doing his stuff.
And the player?
Harry Kane. Why not? Why not? Yeah. If anyone can get the best out of him and play into a system that suits Harry Kane, he'll stay up top, lad. Because that's a problem, I think, with England as well. He's so used to coming back. He was so used to coming back for Tottenham that I think he got in the habit of doing it. And I think Conte will probably have him a little bit more established up front. So I think Harry Kane might have a good second part to the season.
Yeah, and imagine Conte is going to get Kane very much playing the same kind of role that.
That's if he's still there, mind you. That's if he's not gone in January. But
I think you'll hang around now. I think Conte is the kind of man.
He might have a better. Actually, he'll have a better season if he moved over to us, I suppose.
Jonathan, what about you, mate? Team and player that you think will have the most improvement in January?
Well, to be honest, I believe the most improved team would actually be Watford. I mean, the way they went about beating Manchester United over the weekend, they've got a really good goalkeeper in Ben Foster, really good striker in Ismail Sarr. So I think most improved for the results against Man United, that will give them the confidence. And I reckon Watford will be the most improved team.
Good shout.
And as for player, I mean, you can't write off Conor Gallagher. I mean, he's absolutely doing bits, as I said, for Crystal Palace. I witnessed him firsthand last season when he was on loan to us. Chelsea have got one hell of a player when he does eventually go back to Chelsea. But yeah, Palace, for now, Palace have got a really good player in Conor Gallagher. And from an England perspective as well, he can only go from strength to strength.
Do you think he needs to improve, though, from how he's been so far this season?
Well, he's young. He's still learning. So yeah, there's not much improvement to have there. But yeah, I reckon based on like personal experience, and I've also got like mates who are Chelsea supporters as well, and they've been singing his praises at Crystal Palace as well. So yeah.
Yeah, Watford was a great shout. We all love the cycling GK. Liam, what about you, mate? Team and a player.
So I'm going to be a bit biased for this, but I do solemnly swear that Newcastle will improve this season. Of course, I've not won yet. Fingers crossed. Go on, double fingers, skin cheese and all that. Yes, I think Newcastle could and probably should improve in the second half of the season. Of course, I've mentioned that £200 million war chest. Of course, yes, £200 million. I'll say it again. January's going to be massive for us, and I think if we get the right players in, hopefully Eddie Howe won't have COVID for that long. We will definitely start seeing some more positive movements. We'll start seeing more positive results as well, which will shoot us more towards the top end of the table. Of course, we're not going to finish top 10 this season. I think that's out the window already. In terms of player, I think maybe not a player who has to improve, but a player who will probably finally be able to get to show what he's made of is Donny van der Beek. Of course, highly highlighted that he didn't play much under Solskjaer, and when he did it wasn't really for that long or in the right position. But I think with a new manager coming in or potentially a new club for him in January, he's really going to show what he's made of.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he'll be cracking when he's setting balls up for Joe Linton in January. But I have to agree with you, Liam. I think we have to be biased. I mean, we showed signs of improvement already against Brentford. We were attacking. We had more than 50% possession, which I kind of remember the last time Newcastle did. And I mean, I think from our perspectives, we have to really say that Newcastle have to be the team that will improve from January onwards, because we need to in order to stay up. In terms of player, I'm going to stick by Newcastle. I'm jumping on the Joe Linton train fully. It's going all the way to the moon. The way he played against Brentford, and hopefully furthermore in this season he'll show the signs of a 40 million player and really kick on. But look, lads, we'll leave it. We've nearly done an hour and a half, full 90 minutes. It's more than John Joe Shelby could ever do. But, I've got the Baker final to watch.
I've got the dishes to do.
I got bags up at 2 o'clock. Yeah.
All right. I'm off to 11. We'll leave it there for tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure, gents, and we'll catch everyone next week back at the same time, 8 p.m. Tuesday, on all your local TV, Facebook channels, on the Birmingham Twitter and YouTube channel as well. So make sure to join us next week and get your questions in, because we'd love to respond to them. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you later. Good night.
See you later.
See you later, everyone.